At saka tingnan mo yung mga countera ng isa't isa. Yung mid lane nila, may cleanse para sa Ari.
With the Cocoon, make or break lang kasi ang charm Cocoon. So, cleanse mo lang pag nasa loob.
Yun na nga. Tsaka, syempre, nakita nila may Jinsilog. Ano pa ba ipipick nila? Brom. With the unbreakable technique.
Parang Jinsilog, Jin Karma.
Jin Karma, Jin.
Exactly. So, magandang counter na ginawa din ng IPT. They do have poke din, pero ang kinakatakutan ko lang siguro is ano yung mga options sila for initiating actually. They only have Ari, and then the Cocoon, pero those are single targets alone. Pero dito naman sa kabila, meron din naman silang poke. Mas malakas yung poke kasi nitong dalawa kasi very, very long range. Itong Cerberus eSports. Pero yung solid nilang initiate is the knock-up of Rek'Sai, which is hard to miss compared to the skill shots ni Lasues tsaka ni Light.
Knock up, curtain call, tapos curtain call, if ever lapitan sila, meron silang punsun. So, protektado si Coco Martin dito.
Try natin i-tackle yung early game tsaka yung skirmishes dito. Mga siguro first 15 minutes lang laro natin. It kind of leans din more on the side ng IPT.
Ako din.
Because of the presence ng Elise. Enter level 6, there's a big spike on the Ari. Diba? Ang interesting part lang ulit, with all these skirmishes, doon ba nakaterno si GLC? Or will he sit it off etong phase na to ng game, etong 15 na to? Tapos just dominate the late game. Yun din or may split baka.
Mag-split sila. Pero in terms of options kasi parang mas maraming options si IPT. Pwede sila mag-group up, pwede din sila mag-split push. Or make picks.
And ang gusto ko rin malaman talaga, GLC hinahawakan niya itong Yorick ngayon, di ba?
Yun na nga.
How to play Yorick? Kasi have you played Yorick? I haven't played Yorick.
I haven't played Yorick. Ang poor ko.
Hindi ko nga alam skill ni
Yorick.
Wala akong Yorick.
Hindi ko nga alam yung skill.
Sabi ko, bibili nga ako ng Yorick, tapos kulang yung IP ko.
Okay. Kailangan mo ng IP boost weekend din.
Pang ilang palit na kay Yorick to.
Ano? Oo nga.
Kailangan mo pa ng GCA. Kailangan mo pa ng GCA. Alright. Mga Babidi, eto na ba? Papausuhin na ba ni JLC ang Yorick? Dadaanin ba ng Cerberus sa Taylor Swift na galawan? Mga Babidi, MPGL Season 8 Leg 2 Rise from the Rest League of Legends. Ipasa na natin kay paring Asurai and kay paring Arctic.
All right, thank you very much for that one, Manjean. Again, I'm Asurai, and I'm one hell of a beast, and here with me now is...
Coach Arctic at your service, ladies and gents.
Yes, and before all of that, we would like to thank our official sponsors for the MPGL 8 League of Legends. GG Network TV, Twitch, Gigabyte, ViewSonic, Mineski, Cyber Cafe, The Secret Shop, and of course, our gaming partner, Garena Philippines. So without further ado, let's get into the Summer Shift for Game 1 in this Best of 3 series between Cerberus Esports and Imperium Pro Team.
Oh yes, so for the rundown, on the blue side we have Cerberus Esports. In the top lane we have Suzaku on the Jace. In the jungle we have Life Howling on the Rek'Sai. In the mid lane we have Trevor on the Karma. And to sum up our bot lane we have Marky on the Jhin and Shadow on the Janna for support.
And of course for the red team it's gonna be Imperium Pro Team. In the top lane JLC with the Yorick. Jungle it's gonna be Suez on the Elise. Mid lane it's gonna be Light on the Ari. And for our bottom lane duo it will be Hate on the Ezreal, and his support shall be Poi with the Braum.
Oh yes, and we have IPT here grouping up. There is safety in numbers there, but I believe I'm not sure if they were spotted out by the Janna there. So
I think they did, because there's a lot of ping coming out of Shadow.
Oh yeah. So I guess they'll be backing off and going back to their standard laning after being spotted out. So nothing particularly fancy. No. Well, then again, lane swaps isn't really much of a thing anymore as of the recent patches. But still fairly decent lanes. As for the side of Cerberus, I'm very interested in seeing how they'll pull this lineup up with the difference of having the Jace in the top lane, as opposed to earlier where they had him in the mid lane during their first game between Rebirth Gamers Hub. There we go.
I'm also curious because this is like the first time we'll see a matchup of Jace versus a Yorick in forever. If you actually look at the new skill set of the Yorick, he has a Colosseum trap where he can just put you inside of there and then do some free harass. But at the same time, Jace has a push away as well as mobility with his acceleration gate plus his change weapon with the R.
Yes.
So I think it all just comes down to how Suzaku knows how to play this Jace. If he can time it properly, I don't think JLC will pull the damage, but of course that's still yet to be seen.
Definitely. I feel like in this case, as far as the early game laning phase, Suzaku definitely kind of has that advantage for me because he could easily switch between, let's say for the cannon, if he gets caught in that, in Yorick's rework W, he could easily just boost up the attack speed from the W and take it down in a snap. As when he's in Hammer Stance, it's either he could just push JLC away or he could even
Hammer Stance to a minion.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So there's so many options to get away from this Yorick. So I feel like as far as the early game, it's definitely on Suzaku, but going into this mid lane game, we'll see what happens.
Yeah, but here in the bottom lane though, you can see that Hate already taking a crap ton of damage, has to actually, Marky flashing in, and the calculation from that fourth shot of the Jhin, sniping out Hate and giving the first blood. Well,
interesting.
we did, well, like the previous game, or, you know, endgame analysis-wise with Kibu, we talked about how much, or, you know, that Imperium Pro team right now, they can be defeated.
Yes.
They're not the strongest team anymore, but hold that thought. Suzuka's gonna get caught out here in the top lane.
Will we get, I guess, as I said, it's just all a matter of knocking back, whether it's a gank or even the Yorick going aggressive. You know, there's just so much security with Suzaku in this top lane that I'm not really sure if it is, but hold that thought once again.
Forces the flash out of light there, but I think it could have been a follow-up flash from Life Howling with the knock-up. But at least they do burn it out, and then he can just, you know, circle back up into that mid lanes for their gank.
Definitely, you know, 1-0 on the scoreboard. We're already seeing a lot of aggressive plays from both sides. But like as you were saying earlier, like IPT, they're not.
Suzuku though, he's gonna get caught with the cocoon as well as the Colosseum there from JLC. He's taking too much damage, and he will get taken down. He thought that he could dodge it, but nope, that's not gonna be the case. Here in the mid lane though, Life Howling goes in for the second gank, but too far will be light, so no catch there, no joy for the jungle of Cerberus eSports.
Skirmishes happening just back and forth, you know. I guess this is the kind of what you'd expect from teams such as IPT and Cerberus. You know, they don't really want to wait this out too early. They really want to bring on the bloodbath as early as the first few minutes of this game. And
speaking of bloodbaths, here comes Life Howling. He can actually go in with the flash, but then look at that timing from Hayes with the Arcane Shift, able to dodge out. The follow-up flash knock-up coming in from Life Howling there, saving himself, but still they do put the pressure on.
It'll be very interesting, you know. So far we've seen a lot of aggression from Life Howling, you know, trying to make attempts at these ganks, but so far not really that much success, although he is able to bait out some summoner spells. But as far as the leveling, I'm kind of concerned if he continues to keep pushing aggression into these lanes without really picking off anything. I'm not really sure if it will be that viable as far as keeping up with the Lees in leveling. But yeah, we'll see what happens.
But then if you actually look at it, he's already one level ahead of Elise, and I actually checked Suez's experience rate. It's only 50%, so in this case, Life Howling, even though he's been much, it looked like he's been more active in the ganks, 3 ganks through the 2 of Suez, he's still getting the level ups.
Definitely. And I feel like this is kind of the same type of play that we've seen from Cerberus during their first game. You know, they really want to utilize what aggression they have, the power that they have in this early game. You know, we've seen them dominate and just kind of trample over Rebirth Gamers Hub in that first game through the solid aggression that they've shown. So they really want to push for that same strategy going into this first game against IPT.
Yeah, and also I really like this from Marky, because if you saw, like, a little bit a while ago, Poi was actually stacking up the concussive blows onto Shadow, and then what Marky did was that he allowed Poi to actually get the stun onto Shadow, but then re-aimed himself to actually go up onto Hate so that Hate won't put any damage on the Shadow, so minimizing the form of harass that the bottom lane of IPT can actually deal against Cerberus.
So very interesting, you know, the micro, right down to the micro, the mind games, everything, how they're playing this, this is what you'd expect of high caliber teams coming from both sides, you know.
Life Howling spotting it out, but then gets cocooned there. There's no ultimate there for Light, but he does have Ignite, so he might actually go up onto this one, but hold that thought, it's gonna be a no. Though there's gonna be a tussle here into the mid lane, though he should know that the Elise is very close nearby, very close in the vicinity. So just a little bit of exchanges there for both our mid laners.
Yes, definitely. And you know, we were, as you were mentioning earlier, you know, IPT was kind of that, what we'd say that but hold that thought again, a little bit of a trade-off happening between Light and Trevor there in that mid lane. But as you were saying, you know, IPT was kind of that undefeated force that we know them for. And then during the past few months, you know, I'd still consider them one of the top-tier teams. It's just that they've kind of went past that being that undefeatable force with all these different teams stepping up. And it's kind of a combination of, it's interesting how this will play out because IPT, you know, they've gone from being undefeatable to kind of still being that Titan, but realistically still beatable. But then again, we also have Cerberus, you know, at the start, you know, we kind of saw them trying to find their tempo. You know, they've gone through a few minor roster well, not really minor, I'd say kind of major, because we see a new jungler, Trevor going from jungle to mid lane, and then Suzaku being implemented as well. So they're kind of finding their tempo, and so far from what I'm seeing, they're really starting to find it. So it'll be interesting to see if Cerberus, you know, building up the momentum, will it be enough? But
he's gonna go in very aggressive, but under turret, he has to take some damage from that, though. Suzaku is exhausting a lot of mana to actually deal back the damage that JLC is putting up onto him, and then JLC can actually just hit his Q onto Suzaku and then, you know, get back a couple of HP. But the damage from Marky putting onto Hate, putting him down to like 1 point HP from full. That was not something that you'd actually expect coming out from Marky. But I think with the Eye of the Storm, it could have just, well, it caught me off guard as well as IPT, because he felt that Poi was a little bit slow with his Unbreakable there.
Here we go. There's just no hesitation coming from GLC.
Poi is going in. This is going to be a little bit cheeky as Light is right back behind him. But here in the top lane as well, Suzaku is trying to do the best that he can to dodge Suez as well as JLC, and he will. JLC is very low in HP, and will Karma be actually getting him? No, that's not going to be the case, as Trevor will collapse onto Suez here, and Life Howling is just waiting for Suez to jump onto him, but no, Trevor's going to get that kill, and too much commitment from Suez as well as JLC, but in that bottom lane,
oh my god,
Marky!
Just going back and forth here, you know, we can't really just focus on one side because the action is just happening all across the map here, and that was a very interesting attempt, you know, from JLC and Suez trying to converge onto Suzaku. It's just that, you know, on that Jace, he's just a little bit slippery, and then the response from Trevor is very beautiful. 2-1 now on our scoreboard, slightly in favor of Cerberus, but still could be anybody's game.
Yeah, this actually might start to be like a very bad pacing right now for IPT, because Suez has always been to that top lane, never to the mid lane, never to the bottom lane. He's always forcing JLC to actually have a something, but then hold on, it's going to be the mid lane gank here onto Light, but look at that transition coming in from Howling. Light Howling here, getting the knockup, but then in the bottom lane as well, there's going to be the collapse here onto Marky, activates his Monsoon from Shadow there, and keeps his ADC alive with the shield as well. No, you're going to have to say curtain call, because there it is, the ultimate from Marky, forced out the flash, and almost gets the kill onto Hay there, but Hay activating his flash as well as his heal, burning all their summoner spells from that one, as well as their HP bars, but they do survive the gank or the skirmish. And here in the top lane, Suzaku is being pushed out by the by the Neopets of JLC.
Very well played counter defense, I'd say, coming from Marky there in that bot lane, because as soon as Hate exhausted all of his resources, they just went all in, both Marky and Shadow. Just unfortunate that the curtain call really wasn't able to pick somebody off, but then again, just very beautifully played, I'd say, for Marky there.
I think, well, it could have been such a better one if, well, Hate got like a first blood, so he might have had maybe a Monomune or at least a pickaxe to maximize the damage onto Marky, but he didn't. So even with that 2v1, there still wasn't enough damage, and then Shadow was just able to at least make a better comeback for Marky there. Like you said, if Marky got a better angle onto his curtain call, maybe put it a little bit tad to the left, might have actually gotten 2 kills.
Exactly. And there we go. So, ladies and gents, there's just so much action here. 10 minutes into the game, and we're already seeing both sides just trading continuously. You know, they're just not hesitating and pulling the trigger whatsoever, trying to get a kill, trying to get as much harass as they can as far as all these lanes are concerned. It's just mind-blowing, really, just how Cerberus, you know, they're showing that same aggression that we've seen from the previous game earlier against Rebirth Gamers Hub.
Yeah.
And I guess that's what they should be doing, because considering the composition that they have, you know.
And to be fair to them, this is like the Cerberus eSports who, from I think like 1 month ago, was having a very big difficulty in actually adjustments, because they didn't have Chalk. They had to put Trevor, and in their like 1 or 2 games, they had like a very low standing as a team, but then give them like a couple of weeks, and then look at this, they're even putting a lot of pressure against IPT, though at the same time, I am seeing in the top lane that JLC has yet to be touched. Yes, they have been counter-engaging the ganks of Suez as well as JLC, but JLC, as far as I'm concerned, is getting a lot of farm. Look at 79 to 93, and Life Howling has not yet touched this top lane, aside from maybe saving Suzaku, but I feel like this could be a big impact, but then at the same time, Cerberus is getting something from the bottom lane as well as the mid lane.
Definitely, and look at Marky here, you know, there's just so much damage that's coming from him, and if you look at the CS difference, it's slowly tilting to Marky's favor, and to add a little bit more insult to injury, he already has about, hold that thought right there.
It's gonna be Marky here, almost gets stunned, actually, oh, Hate, oh, you gotta run away, my man, as he does. Here comes Light, but here's the teleport from Suzaku. Light already activating his Spirit Rush there, coming back to just get a couple of CS, but they immediately back off. That was just very great game sense from Marky, getting the hit onto Hate so that he just backs off. And wow.
Here we go, we have a dragon attempt coming from Cerberus right here. Life Howling, I don't think...
No vision.
Imperium Pro Team is just not aware of this dragon being taken here, and I believe they will be able to get a very clean take off this first dragon. So that is going to be the first Drake of the game, Ocean Drake, going to Cerberus eSports right
This is
there.
not the CRB who went against IPT a couple of, I think, week ago or 2 months ago. And now you can see that Suez almost getting the hammer there from Suzaku, hammer down, and Suzaku's following it back up. Is the acceleration get combo? Oh no, it's gonna miss. But I don't think it was enough damage there though. Still, also, he almost at least got Suez there.
Not enough mana to just really go all in onto Suez and hopefully get the kill, but still that was very well played. At least he was able to kind of counter that jungle take from Suez right there.
Yeah, defensive build here from Trevor, building for himself an Athene's Unholy Grail, so you know, giving much support to I would say Suzaku as well as Marky as this game does progress.
Definitely. And I guess that's kind of what they need, you know. As far as the composition here, they kind of, I guess, you kind of expect Suzaku to take advantage of the. Ooh, look at that though.
Yeah, that's what we're talking about. Even if the Colosseum is summoned, there's a lot of movement speed abilities for Suzaku to actually use to go to be able to dodge that out. But same time, JLC still has the upper hand here. But here in the mid lane, Trevor. All right, so it's gonna just
a little bit of scared.
Yeah, side fancy footwork.
Yeah, right there. And like as I was saying, you know, okay, but hold that.
Shadow though, in No Man's Land gets followed up. One more auto attack gets the stun onto him, and he will eat a true shot barrage to the face. And Hate finally got himself his first kill. But here in the top lane, Suzaku being forced to flash away as the ultimate, the Lady of the Isles, has been unleashed.
Oh my goodness, the damage though coming from JLC. You know, earlier we were kind of seeing Suzaku kind of dominating that top lane just a little bit, but going into this mid and late game, and we're starting to see the beauty of that Yorick, you know, as he's continually just dealing quite significant damage now against Suzaku, that he's starting to force him back into that lane. But
but Suez is here. He can actually just collapse onto it, and this is wait, hold that thought though. Suzaku gets the kill onto Suez as the turret hit actually finds him into the skies.
Wow.
IPT is not looking well here as I think their like follow-up plays are not on point. But in the bottom lane, Marky gets stunned yet again, but here comes Life Howling. He can actually counter engage, good knock-up, and we've seen it once, we've seen it twice. Here comes the curtain call. Just give it to Marky. Don't give it anymore. There you go, double kill. Marky gets it. And in the blink of an eye, that engage from Hate as well as Poi gets shut down in a matter of seconds.
That is going to be very scary later on going into those clashes, because Marky, now 3-0, he's just going to really hurt like there's no tomorrow going into those clashes, along with the fact that Suzaku and Life Howling just has enough of that frontline potential along with Trevor to make sure that hopefully nobody converges onto Marky right here. So Cerberus really in top form today, and I must say I'm really impressed. This is not the same Cerberus that we saw early on during the start of this season right here.
Smart pickup from Cerberus as well, because I'm looking at the consecutive picks that they got. IPT actually first picked an Ezreal with an Elise, so they already showed their jungler, which is alright. But then ADC wise, the reactive pick or the follow-up pick from Cerberus was actually the Jhin, and then what IPT did there was just actually make this Ezreal with a Braum. I think I didn't really like that just because you kind of expose yourself too much, and then Cerberus having the last say on what that bottom lane matchup is going to be with the Janna. This kind of allowed Cerberus to maybe outplay them even before this game even started.
Exactly, and I'm just really in awe of Cerberus. You know, as far as expectations, I'd say they were kind of, average going into the MPGL, but the growth as far as what we've seen is just literally awe-striking from what I'm seeing right here. You know, the chemistry they really started to build on it, and it's showing as of these playoffs. They're really stepping up their game, and surprisingly, you know, they're really going up to par against their sister team here, and just really commendable performance. Especially, I gotta say, from pretty much from everybody. You know, Suzaku having come from Naga eSports.
Naga eSports, yeah.
Yes. So really stepping up, really meshing well, I'd say, so far with Cerberus, along with Marky stepping up his game. Because for me personally, as far as AD carries in the Philippines, Marky is one of the people I really look up to as far as the mechanics. You know, he was on Celestial before. He had a beautiful run, and he's just, for me, he's been one of the more consistent AD carries.
Yeah. And he's versatile as well.
Exactly.
He can play almost any ADC.
And I think that's a huge asset for any team, because it just grants so many different composition possibilities. You know, the flexibility in itself going into that bot lane, that he could just pretty much counter anybody or play as a team player. You know, in that game 2 earlier, I was talking to Kibo earlier, and as he mentioned, you know, Marky was kind of the bait going into those clashes.
That's true.
It just shows the flexibility as an AD carry. That's something you really look for in a player.
Because he can play, like, for example, a high damage poker like Jhin, as well, and then just shift back into a utility ADC, like for example a Sivir or a Ashe, and then he can play them all well and with much impact. You saw there, like you said, he baited a lot of like clashes with just the Ashe, and then he would just re-engage with his arrow, plus then flash away. Then what would happen was just Life Howling would come in with a Hecker Rim and then stop them attacks with the Onslaught of Shadows or the Devastating Charge.
Yes, and you know, we've been giving a lot of credit to Marky for that, but then again, to pull off that type of strategy, it's not just the AD carry, it's more of a collaborative effort from the team as well. There's a lot of trust involved, and you know, that just shows how much Cerberus has grown throughout these past few months, and I wouldn't be surprised if they could potentially outclass IPT in this game. Maybe, just maybe.
Might actually get caught here, but then at the same time, look at this possible collapse coming out of IPT. They almost caught, I think, Life Howling there, but Life Howling did have a good tremor sense, and they also had the ward into that riverside, almost getting the catch onto JLC as well, because he was in no man's land. If he actually stopped his recall, he might actually gotten the kill onto him, but then bottom lane wise, Hades getting a couple of CS, and he's catching up against Marky.
So far though, you know, going into this mid and late game, I'm interested in seeing the damage coming from the Yorick, but look at the gold difference here. Oh my goodness, it's pretty big in comparison to Hate here in this bot lane. Just goes to show how Marky has been utilizing the power that Jhin has early on in that game. And at the same time, like as I was saying, sure, we have seen Cerberus shining in this early game, but I'm very curious to see, as we have said earlier, this is the first time that we're seeing Yorick in competitive play in the MPGL, pretty much almost in any in any competitive scenario. So I'm kind of interested in seeing how JLC will maneuver this Yorick going into this mid and late game, because as we have seen earlier, early game it was Suzaku that kind of had the edge over JLC, but as the minutes went by, you know, JLC was dealing a significant amount of damage on this Yorick. So I'm kind of interested in seeing how IPT will utilize this Yorick going into that mid lane.
Trevor though, as JLC swims into the mid lane, look at this, the damage onto Trevor, but they get away. Life Howling is just there with the Void Rush to maybe get a counter knock-up so that he doesn't die, or his mid laner doesn't die at all. Though the Lady of the Isles here in the mid lane, as they push it up, the siege from IPT has begun. Where is Marky? He is right there. But at the same time, look at the damage just coming out of IPT. They are just chugging all of their insane potential onto this mid-tier 1. And Marky actually activating his curtain call there. While in the top lane, you do see that Suzuku gets a kill. Life Howling tries to re-engage, but nothing to happen there. Suzuku, while getting the top tier 1, immediately shifts to the bottom lane just to push out Hate. And this actually, this doesn't give anything to Imperial Pro team. Cerberus just counters all out.
You know what's interesting here is I gotta commend IPT for going with the Braum, because as we were talking about earlier, since they are sister teams, they may have kind of have an idea as to what each other might pick. So as far as the Braum, you know, they probably saw these first few picks coming from Cerberus, but that's another dragon take from Cerberus. As I was saying, if you're gonna look at the pick order of Cerberus right here, they went with the Rek'Sai, they went with the Jhin, they went with the Karma. They were first pick. So IPT might have already assumed that they could be going for this Jace as a follow-up, possibly going for that same composition. But here we go, Cerberus.
And this is just going to be a siege by Cerberus. Life Howling doesn't need to do anything too much, but Light activating his Spirit Rush almost gets a catch there, but the fast activation of Trevor's skill makes them sidestep all of that CC. Suez also looking for something but cannot net himself the CC. Look at this, it's gonna be a 5v5 in the mid lane as CRB starts to maybe get their last tier 1 turret of the game. And look at that, their poke composition is actually hitting IPT. I think you're actually right on this one because I actually forget to touch or brush up on this. There is the poke comp from Cerberus, so having a Braum with the Unbreakable actually, you know, having a much needed counter potential to that.
Exactly, and like as I was saying earlier, they probably predicted that they might be going for this Jade. So the Braum is kind of double purpose. It kind of helps negate the curtain call coming from Marky, as well as the Q going into the acceleration gate for Suzaku. So I feel like this was a very well thought out for IPT, possibly a prediction that they were anticipating the Jace probably, so very well played by IPT here. And I feel like going into this mid and late game, because if you're going to look at it, it's very much expected that Cerberus has that early game advantage. Kind of similar to what happened during Rebirth Gamers Hub. It's just unfortunate that Rebirth Gamers Hub, in going up against the same composition, they encountered a lot more casualties. But IPT, I feel like they've been doing a great job.
Marky here, though, might actually be a casualty. Howling Gale just to disengage, but they are relentless to follow this up. They get the knock-up onto Life Howling, and could the Rek'Sai be a casualty here? Almost, but Suez down to 10 HP, gets blasted by a curtain call. There's JLC in the mid lane trying to follow up here onto Trevor, but gets tethered, almost tethered there by Trevor as well. This is a 4v5 to the skies comes Suzaku, and in the backline, Marky gets a kill, even knocks in a tether, a snare onto Poi there, gets down, and that's a 1-for-3. IPT looking strong on the engage, but could not just find the executes as CRB positioning-wise has an advantage against them.
Yeah, exactly. And as you were saying, positioning, I feel like position is everything in this game. And I feel like as far as positioning, CRB was a little bit more smarter than IPT. Because for IPT, I feel like they were a little bit more messy as far as the positioning right there. And as I mentioned, with that positioning, they kind of became easier targets, in fact, for me, in my opinion, for the Jhin. Because when you're fighting in close quarters, it kind of gives a little bit more predictability as far as where the Jhin needs to aim, because IPT doesn't have that flexibility as far as the space to move around, which makes them easier targets for the Jhin pokes as well as Suzaku pokes as well. And that being said, I feel like, although on paper IPT might have the advantage in close quarters because of the Braum, but as far as pulling the trigger, Cerberus kind of had that advantage because they had a little bit more predictability as far as the space that IPT had to maneuver around.
Yeah, plus at the same time, like, I felt that what IPT was looking at, because Suez had so much impact, or at least a lot of presence in the top lane for JLC in the whole early game, they were looking for JLC to actually get super fed and then maybe be a split pusher that, you know, Cerberus can't deal with. But Suzuko got a lot of kills, and then the other members of Cerberus got a lot of towers as well, and now they are just like rotating back and forth so that JLC doesn't really have enough room to get himself farmed, as well as maybe again be that split pusher that what is going to be strong, or what is strong on the rework Yorick, and they're not letting that happen, and that's kind of making IPT's I would say like strategy be a little bit jumbled up here.
Exactly, because Cerberus, they're just really capitalizing on the advantage that they have. And so far, as you mentioned, you know, IPT technically they have the split foot potential. It's just that Cerberus is exerting so much pressure that IPT just needs to continue to respond to Cerberus at this point. As
Shadow is in the pit there, but then look at this. They try to collapse onto Marky, and Shadow says, "Monsoon, you all away!" Activates the curtain call, but has to cancel it out as IPT are looking to engage. Everybody from CRB are super damn low. Marky, oh no, that charm from Light could not have been more perfect there for the catch. They get it. JLC sidesteps it, and oh no, that was not supposed to happen. Trevor eats an inner flame, and they re-engage Suzuku from the sidelines. They did not expect him to actually be in the shadows. This is just a Wraith form Suzuku. My god, they have unleashed the beast into the top lane. Suzuku flashes in, looks for more, but cannot find it. Or will he do so? To the skies, one more auto attack, and CRB are re-engaging this one. Only Light remains. He eats one acceleration gate with a shock blast and one auto attack. Suzuku gets a double kill, and that's a 4-for-1. Oh, wait, hold that thought. 5 for 1. There you go.
There we go. Yes.
That's too much.
That was just pretty intense.
What happened?
That was what I was waiting for, you know. As far as the Jace, that is the beauty of the Jace right now. The buffs that he had, as far as the damage that he could exert, along with the build that Suzaku went for, you know, the armor penetration is just so beautiful at this point. That he's just fearless at this point, going into these guys, not afraid to go into these carries, the light on the Ahri, hate on the Ezreal. And as far as this game, you know, earlier against Rebirth Gamer Sub, it was right now we're seeing the beauty of Jace when in hammer stance, going all in onto the more of the poke coming from Suzaku. But I love how not afraid to go into these carries and deal as much damage as he can. And this is just proving to be a problem for IPT at this point.
Yeah. I mean, it should have been Cerberus taken down there, but Suzaku playing with the element of surprise and then Trevor getting that insta-gib onto Suez. IPT did not put that into account, and they kind of bite themselves back in the butt for, you know, I don't know, I felt like they were just, it felt like they were just too much focused onto chasing Cerberus, maybe putting them down in terms of like, oh, we can chase you down now, we got a good clash, but then Cerberus was like, alright, we have a bigger picture here. Suzaku's just gonna hide and rush, and when he goes for that, and when he went for that, they just didn't expect it, and they couldn't actually have a counterplay for that one as well. But Hate, he's gonna get caught, but does have the Arcane Shift away from that Deadly Flourish coming out of Marky. And Lacey survives from that. Here, Trevor getting his blue buff, and you can see here that both of these teams actually setting up for a Byron take. 27 minutes into the game, this is very possible.
Yes, it's going to be very juicy, you know. As far as for Cerberus, it just kind of establishes their lead a little bit more. But I feel like as far as who could really utilize the Baron buff, you know, as we mentioned, IPT has that solid split potential. And that'll be... I feel like that if they manage to get this Baron, it'll just pretty much put them back on the map as far as this game is concerned.
Deadly Flourish onto Light, the catch onto by Marky, actually getting the mid lane for quite a bit of damage. Glacial Fissure activating by Poi, doesn't get too much impact for IPT, but Suzaku too far away from his teammates, has already been insta-gib. JLC from the sidelines, Light going in, activates his Spirit Rush, but gets caught with a little bit of damage from Cerberus there. The Curtain Call very much into a lot of the members of IPT, but this is just a 1-for-0 exchange still. The Lady of the Isles being activated by JLC, but nothing much there than just the kill. No follow-up turrets, no objectives whatsoever being taken by IPT or Cerberus as well, but they have vision of this. They should be backing off right now. Cerberus, do they not feel that IPT do not feel that Cerberus is trying to take a Baron? Well, he has already started, but then okay,
backing off
right, they pushed him back.
So yeah, Cerberus will be backing off from that, realizing that IPT is fully aware that they are right there. And here we go.
Ooh.
Look at the damage coming from Trevor, you know, especially considering that he built the Athenes first, which is kind of you go for the more of the utility than the actual carry potential that item brings. But then again, with that Rabadon now, you know, it's the best of both worlds. He has that utility. He's also dealing tons and tons of damage on that Karma. So that's the beautiful thing about what Trevor's doing with this Karma right now.
Yeah, and if you actually look at it, IPT here are on a very bad standing in terms of their overall goal. Look at that, 7,000 against or up against Cerberus. With yes, Trevor does have 2 utility items, but at the same time, he's 2,000 net worth ahead of Light. He's 11,000, while Light is 9,000, and that's not really a good mix because Light's supposed to be the assassin here. He's supposed to be the one who deals a lot of damage, but he still has yet to, I guess, like beef up his damage. Yes, he does have the Luna's Echo, but maybe having a Rabadon's would be better, or at least a Void Staff.
And that's what's very concerning about IPT at this point, because if you're going to look at it as far as objective, it's all on Cerberus. As far as the kills, Cerberus once again. And then the gold on top of it all, it's just all on Cerberus at this point. That it's just IPT trying to find some kind of way to get back into this game, because Cerberus is just bringing on the pressure so hard that, you know, IPT is just trying to wait for that opening for them to make a comeback. Ooh!
Trevor's a little bit too itchy on that one, but he does have the cleanse, and in the bottom lane, Suzaku has sneaked up, and IPT are a little... I don't know if they actually noticed that, but the inhibitor's almost taken down there.
So this is kind of the same thing that we saw earlier against Rebirth Gamer Sub. You know, they went for that split push, knowing that Rebirth Gamers Hub was distracted in a different lane. And the same thing is happening, but ooh, IPT spotting out this attempt at taking the Baron right there.
Baron's a very juicy target, but not juicy enough that they would actually give their lives to it. Though at the same time, Suzuku, this is just like a double whammy from Cerberus. Suzuku can split push, and then if they try to actually commit onto Suzuku, they can actually just force the Baron, and that's what they're doing right now. Suzuku, he even takes down Light! JLC is gonna definitely get the cash here, but at the same time, in the Baron area, look at every single member of IPT get taken down. Trevor's unstoppable. Market to follow it up. He's gonna be able to hit a deadly flourish onto Poi there, but doesn't need to because Trevor's gonna get himself a double kill as he tries to chase down Poi. And they're gonna re-engage onto the Baron yet again. I think they have the vision onto Suez, so they know that the jungler is there. They have to be wary of the catch from Suez because Suez can do it. But at the same time, they will collapse onto him. He does not have a flash, and IPT are very committed to stopping this Baron. At the same time, is it worth it that they can get giving themselves deaths and the gold to Cerberus just for this one objective? Look at that one. It's almost a 10,000 gold lead. JLC is here. Is he actually scary enough that it will actually push 4 members of Cerberus down, containing Trevor as well as Shadow, and of course Marky at the same time? Trevor's doing the best he can just to zone out JLC here, and I'll be damned if JLC actually gets a slap onto that Baron and steals it, and even a true shot barrage from Hate.
That was a close call, you know.
That's Smite.
Exactly. Luckily, JLC did not have his flash up to potentially go for the risk of stealing it at just 33 health right there. A minor miscalculation on the Smite, but luckily JLC did not have that flash up to potentially go for the steal. But nonetheless, 17-7 on our scoreboard right now. Things are just going not as good for IPT as we would have hoped as far as this competition, because as we were talking about earlier, as far as the split push potential, you'd kind of expect it to be on IPT side, but as we saw, it's kind of the tides are kind of turning the other way, as it was Suzaku that was just going for that split push earlier in that bot lane. But then again, another objective being taken here by Cerberus here with not even a single objective, not even a tower, not even a dragon being taken by
You're actually right. I thought they had already a tower there, but
still nothing.
Man, if they actually had a flash on JLC and he slapped the Baron, that would have been the biggest, or one of the biggest counter plays here, or at least, you know, a possible saving grace there for IPT.
Potentially, and here we go, Cerberus really trying to maximize what they have on this Baron here, and that's what they should be.
Oh!
Look at the
Hate! Look at his HP!
That is very scary.
Was that just one acceleration gate combo by Suzuku?
I believe so, actually, because I don't think anybody else has
got the hit.
Yeah, exactly. And here we go, another inhibitor down for Imperium Pro.
I should try.
Okay, there we go.
I should try a Jace when I play League of Legends again.
He's pretty beautiful. No, I've personally been running Jace myself, and I've never played that much Jace at all. But the buffs are just so big, in my opinion. Yeah. You know, that even though you're complete noob at Jace, the damage in itself is just enough. So long as you know how he works, you know the basics of Jace, as well as the item build, you know, you could just pretty much carry your team. And again, amplified all the more with the high caliber play that we're seeing from Glow Bears, really being maximized here by Cerberus. And kind of curious as far as going into game 2, if we might see either IPT stealing it for themselves, or if they're just gonna ban it out completely from the game.
Yeah, Mortal Reminder there being built, or already purchased rather, by Suzuku, just so that JLC doesn't able to get as much heal as he would, and then that heal from Hate, if you know Suzuku does get a good tap with his skills, would just be like null and void.
Exactly. Mortal Reminder, very apt name for the item, because it's gonna be a very solid reminder of IPT that Cerberus is in this game. You know, they're in it to win it.
It's like a poetic justice wherein you are not immortals. That's why I would build this item, because you know, well, it's kind of bad to say, but it's kind of like lame to say. This is just to remind you that you're immortal. Hence, Mortal Reminder.
Okay, Asurai. Alrighty.
That's why I said it was lame, but you know, I'm too awesome, so even if I say lame things, it makes it awesome.
At least you were gutsy enough to admit it. But here we go.
Here we go. It's going to be the Coliseum for Life Howling, but he doesn't even care. He is just going to shrug that off. He already broke down the top tier 3, and he will force Marky to activate his own Curtain Call, and Light takes a crap ton of damage, down to 1 point HP. Suez is left there. He's going to flash away, but here comes Trevor. Oh, Trevor going to run in, but he doesn't care anymore as the Nexus turrets are exposed. This is going to be IPT looking to actually be beaten by Cerberus eSports. One more Nexus turret, the Nexus is exposed, and it's going to explode. And ladies and gentlemen, as we go into game 2, it's going to be Cerberus eSports getting the first game of this one against Imperium Pro Team. And, alright, I'm going to go back to my proper seating.